Hello, I'm Enzo Maresca, and today I'm going to try to fit this little plug into that hole right there. So let's see if that didn't work. I'm going to try it again. Didn't work again. I'm going to try it again. It's not working. I'm going to try it again. What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So 3-0 win against Legia Warsaw. I mean, nobody's really going to get excited about beating a team like Legia, especially after the first half we had. Embarrassing. Truly embarrassing. In the second half, we got the goal. Some good work from George. Very alert to the situation. Decent shot from James outside the box. Honestly, it's a terrible clearance from the defenders, what sets it all up. Now we're in the driver's seat. We got our confidence. Legia stepping out a little bit, trying to get the goal, and we put two more past them. And also have a missed penalty because, of course we did, because we have nobody with confidence at this club right now. This is the level. This is Enzo Maresca's level. He's not fit for the Premier League, but he can beat teams like Legia Warsaw, which is why there's probably not a big push for us to end up in Champions Leagues next year, because he's probably too scared to be in that competition. But all this does is just frustrate me with the Brentford result and game, because there's no reason to rest Jackson and Palmer and Neto when you don't even play Jackson and Neto today. So there's no reason to rest him in the first half. And on top of that, once again, you've gone with Nkunku up top. Now, it ended up being okay because we managed to get 3 goals in the second half. But how many times do you need to see that doesn't work before you stop trying it? You can put anybody else up there outside of maybe Sancho and Madueke, because they don't do that side of the job well either. They don't make good runs. They don't work well off the ball. Anybody that works well off the ball, you think, George probably be a better suit today. Neto, we know, can do it. Palmer probably could do it pretty well too. But you don't go with any of them. You go with Nkunku up top again today, after it didn't work on the weekend against Brentford. And I'm almost worried that because we won 3-0, that would almost vindicate him and make him go, see guys, this works. So we're going to do it again. But it doesn't work. It didn't work. For being honest, we did not hardly create anything in the first half. We finally got a couple of chances late on. Couple of chances from Dewsbury-Hall that kind of fell into his lap, and then he messed them up because just Dewsbury-Hall. And then second half, like I said, terrible clearance right to James. Good shot from James, and George is awake to the rebound, and he scores. Like he is stepping out. Now all of a sudden it's easier for us to play because they're not packing it in. But if they had managed to keep a clean sheet all the way up until the 80th, 90th minute, there's a good chance they break on us and they get a goal. If not for that mistake. As we've seen multiple times throughout this season, teams are able to pack it in against us and not have too much trouble, especially when Nkunku's up top, because he makes it so easy for them. Because honestly, I will say, I know I'm kind of going out of order here. Typically, I start from the back and go to the front, but I am going to talk about Nkunku today because he's the big talking point, because I've seen quite a few people calling for him to just be dropped forever, sell him, don't ever play him again. The problem is, I don't necessarily feel that way about him yet. I'm getting there. Definitely with a lot of these performances, I'm getting closer and closer. But the problem is, he's not a 9. So I'd like to see what he could do if he were played in the 10. If you put Neto up there, or if you put George up there today and played Nkunku in the 10, or did that against Brentford. But he doesn't do that. He puts Nkunku up top and then gives him no help around him. Sancho and Madueke on the weekend are not going to work hard to get him the ball. They're not going to help him out in there. And he's also not playing in his favorite position. And then today, same thing. He's not playing in his favorite position. Yes, he has a little bit more help because he's got George and Palmer who are a bit more energetic, but he's still not making the right runs that we need a number 9 to do. And so it's killing our attack. Yes, it technically is his fault, but it's also Maresca's for putting him in a position that he doesn't need to be in. It's the same issue I have with Sanchez. All these people that want to crush Sanchez and say that he's the worst keeper in the planet, but in reality, he's a pretty decent shot stopper. He's just being asked to pass the ball, which he cannot do, and Maresca refuses to change that. And so once again, we've got Maresca being a stubborn idiot and not willing to change the fact that Nkunku's not a 9, so stop putting him in that position. But outside of Maresca, I mean, Nkunku's work rate does need to improve, but I feel like if he were given a run in his favored position, I think he would probably be a little bit more willing to put that work in. But as it is, I mean, he has so little confidence. You can see he doesn't want to be here because he's not being allowed to play where he can. He's not being allowed to show what he can do because Maresca refuses to do that. So I would say it's probably 50-50. Half of it's on Maresca for not playing him in his proper position, and then half of it's on Nkunku because he's not really worked as hard as he could in a lot of these moments. Outside of that, I mean, the rest of the lineup, kind of odd. Achimpong, Tosin, Badiashile, don't have any issues with those, but you got Gusto in the back again. Why is he getting so much time? Especially after the past couple of matches, he's been probably one of our worst performers on the pitch, and that's including Sancho and Nkunku, but he's somehow still been worse. And yet he continues to play. I don't understand. He's got James and Dewsbury-Hall in the middle, which I guess you're resting Caicedo and Fernandez, fine. We do need to give them rest because there are only 2 midfield options right now, and Caicedo is pretty much the heartbeat of the team at the moment, so you need him to be fit. And then the front 4, you got Sancho, you got George, you got Palmer, and then Nkunku up top. And this is where I have to look at Sancho and go, why is he continuing to play? I realize the manager's probably trying to give him some confidence, trying to put some faith in him, give him these minutes so that way he can get back to what we saw early on. But the problem is that he's not. If he were showing little glimpses of what we saw before, then I'd be a little bit more forgiving and say, okay, I see you're trying to help him out. And granted, he did get 2 assists today. So maybe that'll boost his confidence and we will start to see that Sancho return. But for the most part, we're not seeing that. So all we're doing is wasting a position that could be taken up by somebody like George, who is doing a lot for the team and is giving his all for the team whenever he gets these little cameo appearances. But that's about all from Maresca. I think it's another game that shows he's not fit to manage at the top level yet. He might get there eventually, but where he is right now, his ideals and his stubbornness, it's feeling pretty similar to Ange. If we had not started as well as we had, we probably would be close down to Tottenham. But going on to individuals, Jorgensen didn't really have a whole lot to do today, so it's hard to really critique or praise him. He made one really good save near the end. That was about it. Achimpong had some moments throughout where he looked a little young, looked a little inexperienced with his touch or with his awareness of what was going on. But overall, he seemed fine. He's a player that I'd like to see maybe get a little bit more time here and there and get some experience underneath him because he has seemingly a good physical profile. But that lack of experience today might have hurt us in other games, but because it's Legia, it did not, thankfully. Tosin and Badiashile, both of them did perfectly fine. Tosin came off for Colwill at halftime, maybe just to rest legs, maybe just to give Colwill some minutes. But yeah, both of them didn't really have any issues. I was a little worried about Badiashile just because he does have his error-prone tendencies, but didn't see much of that today. And on the ball, they looked pretty comfortable, if not a little too slow and lackadaisical whenever we had possession. And that kind of was a big problem in the first half because we were not moving the ball fast enough, and it starts from them kind of just walking around with it. Gusto on the left side, not a good game again, even against a team like Legia. And I really want to know who in their right mind, whenever we're setting up like free kicks and corners that are wide opportunities for us, who in their right mind said, all right, so we've got our crossers of the ball. You've got James, you've got Palmer, you've got, I guess, Dewsbury-Hall as an option. You've got these guys out there, but let's have Gusto as a third option out there. And let's go to him probably half of the chances that we get. Who thought that was a good idea? And how many times did it work today? 1, maybe, if we're lucky. 1 nearly worked out for Legia really well because he put in a terrible cross right at the first defender and that guy heads it out and now they're breaking on us. Brilliant. I don't know what genius thought Gusto's a good crosser of the ball, but yeah, give him a firing, please, because he's the worst. Especially knowing we do have better crossers of the ball on the pitch. And we go to Gusto for some reason, who has shown no creativity in the final third this year. James in the midfield today looked a bit better than he did against Brentford, a little bit quicker, a little bit more energy about him. So good to see. Hopefully it didn't do any damage to himself at any point because, like I've said before, he has paper-thin hamstrings, so any game could cause it. Dewsbury-Hall, outside of his finishing today, looked fine. I do want to give him a little bit of credit because I have definitely been hard on him all season because of the circumstances surrounding his transfer and the fact that we got rid of Gallagher and he plays a similar position. But I will say the past couple of matches that he's come in off the bench or he started, he's done okay. He's not a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, but he at least looks comfortable putting in pressure, putting in some good challenges, causing some trouble. His interplay is decent enough to knock the ball around. There are several gaps, clearly. We know what his level is. We know where he's supposed to be playing right now. I think most of us do. And I think the past few matches, he's at least stepped it up a little bit and looked a bit more like a lower to mid-table Premier League player instead of a championship player. But his finishing today was dreadful. Absolutely. He had one decent shot. It was probably, I think it was the first shot that we had. But then the headers that he had were just god awful. One hit his shoulder, one was up under it. If Sancho already talked about a little bit, but yeah, I mean, got 2 assists. That's about it though. First half, another half of just nothing from him. He got on the ball a lot, nothing happened. I'm hoping the assists help. I'm hoping the confidence builds, but I'm just not confident in that because we've not seen enough from him for me to think that this is going to build off of anything. George, first half was a little shaky, and I do think some of that is he's on the left side. I do think he favors being on the right. I think he likes to go down the line and then cross it in on his right foot. So it was a little tough for him, I think, to figure out where to go because he wanted to go down the line still, but then his left foot is just not, it doesn't seem like he has much of a left foot. He did try it one time and it worked out okay, but for the most part, it seemed like he was not really willing to try that out. But when he got into the middle in the second half, because Palmer comes off, Madueke goes on, I thought he looked a little bit more comfortable in there. So I don't know if he has always been a winger, if he started off as an attacking mid, but he did look like he was enjoying himself a lot more when he was in the center than he was out wide. And obviously got himself his first senior goal, which is a nice moment for him. Palmer, unfortunately, the finished product is still not there. He's still looking more like himself, though. In the build-up play and the passing and all of that, his dribbling, a lot of that looks more like the Palmer I'm used to seeing. It's just unfortunately that final pass for the assist or the shot is still not quite there. And it's something that I feel like we need to see from him, or else there's going to be a lot of questions about, okay, but what is he bringing to the team outside of that build-up play? And I already talked about Nkunku, so we're going to move on. Subs that came on. Colwill came on at halftime, did okay, kind of similar to Tosin and Badiashile. The defense today was not really tested. They just had to make sure no mistakes, don't let anybody get in behind you. And for the most part, they did that perfectly fine. Madueke came on. He got the 2 goals from Sancho's assists. And, I mean, this is an easier game for him. I feel like this is the type of game where he likes to thrive against a little bit of a lower opposition. He can run at players. He can take them on. He can be clever and creative. He's not asked to do as much defensive work either. So these are the games that I think he does well. And it's why, personally, I think he would be similar to like a Hudson-Odoi. You know, go to a mid-table, a little bit of a lower side. He'd probably do really, really well. But a team like Chelsea, where you have to do a little bit of everything, you have to play together as a team. You can't be the standout man. I don't know how well he's going to do here. And games like this kind of convince me of that even further. I think Cucurella was the next sub. Came on for, I believe, James, and pushed Achimpong into the middle, Gusto out to the right, if I'm remembering that correctly. I mean, it's Cucurella, so came out, worked hard. I will say, because there was one moment, I would say within the first 5 minutes of him coming on, Legia did get a little bit of a break, and there's a guy that just went running past him. He kind of lost track of him for a minute, and now he's sort of chasing to get back in behind him. And I remember when he came on against, I think it was Brentford on the weekend, it's kind of a similar thing where when he first came on, there were a few moments where it felt like he was not up to the pace of the match. He really seems like a player that might need to just start. Coming off the bench, I don't know if he has that same level of energy in the first 5 to 10 minutes that we're used to seeing from him. And then the final 2 were Amugu and Mweka, I think, up top. Two young players were already 3-0 up, I think, at the time. So give them some minutes, give them a little bit of a nice moment. I mean, I know they both had their debuts before, but still, any minutes you can get at the senior level for these young players is an exciting moment for them. Neither of them did anything horrible. I mean, I think Amugu gave the ball away a couple of times, and Mweka maybe had a couple of chances that he didn't do much with, but I don't know. I don't really see either of them as close to the first team. So when I look at George and Achimpong, I'm expecting them to put in good performances against teams like Legia. Whereas Mweka and Amugu, if they come in and do well, that's good. You know, it raises their profile a little bit, maybe gets them a little bit closer to the first team, but I feel like both of them are still a little ways away at this point. But all in all, I mean, at the very least, it makes it to where next Thursday, it's pretty comfortable. You could probably put in a few kids at the start. Hopefully put out a strong 11 on the weekend, I think against Ipswich, which we need to win that. You have to win that match. If you don't win against Ipswich at home, you got big problems. But I do want to say at the end of all of this, because I've seen some videos from like TalkSport and some other Chelsea creators talking about which would you rather do, Champions League or win the Conference League? And here's my thought process. I want to finish top 5. I want to get the Champions League. That is something that I would prefer to get. However, that being said, I'm looking at the Conference League going, that's not a necessity, but we should win it. So it's almost not even a question of would you rather have one or the other. This should already be a given. Like I know you've got a couple of good teams. I think Fiorentina is still in it. Real Betis, I think, is still in it. And I mean, we've heard obviously Antony is doing bits for them right now. So they're kind of looking a little bit more of a challenge. But you've got a couple of teams that are going to be a little bit tougher. You should still beat them, though. So I'm looking at this going, this should be a given. It should not be do you want to challenge for the top 5 or do you want to win this? It should be, we're winning this. This should not even be a question. We should be pushing for the top 5. We should be doing everything we can to get the top 5. Again, looking at Brentford, the lineup you put out makes even less sense today whenever you don't play Jackson. You do play Palmer, but you don't play Neto. You don't even put Jackson and Neto on the pitch. I really do have to ask, what is he thinking? Cucurella didn't start on the weekend. So what is his mindset right now? Because it looked like you were resting players on the weekend for Legia. Now it feels like you were not. You just didn't put out your best side against a Brentford team that's been pretty poor at home. That we may have been able to take something out of that match. You didn't do it there, and then you go into the midweek game and you still don't play those players. There are a lot of questions now, I think, about Maresca and what is his mindset? What is his goal for this season? Because at the moment, I will say, it does not feel like the league is a priority. It does not feel like he wants to go and win every single league match that we have available to us, and that's a problem. Because if we don't, we already see Newcastle is in a great run of form. Villa is starting to step it up a little bit. We know Man City might start to pick up some wins. I know they are a little bit weaker and they don't have Haaland, but still, those are 2 teams that could take our position. And there are a few others right past them. Fulham, Brighton are not too far behind. If they pick up a few wins, who knows? But anyway, with all that being said, those are my thoughts on the game today. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game? Let me know what we can talk about and discuss. All that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. Also check out the channel. We have a lot of other reviews on here as well as some Let's Plays, so check those out if you have time. But until next time, hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.